September. Last time we did this a couple of years ago in the midterm review of the strategic plan, and we did it in July and August. That was really dumb because people, July and August is not a great time to grab people and their brains. A lot of people in the field take their vacations then. A lot of you guys, if you are fortunate to have some time off, it comes then. So it's really going to start in September this time. How long, we don't know exactly, but that will be your opportunity to join working groups. And before that, you can comment, on any, as I said, there's no out of bounds here in terms of what you want to feedback in any form to me or Carl or Peter. Carl wants to know what you think, what you're worried about, what you like. So, and then how long those will last, not sure exactly. They're not going to be forever, but they're probably going to be 6 to 8 weeks. Some of them may be a little bit more complicated, last longer. They'll involve people from board members to local staff in Pakistan. So it'll be a real mix. Those who volunteer, and it's going to be based on people who sign up. So that's coming. You'll get an email from me that says, hey, now we're nearing the working group phase. Here are the working groups, and then you have an opportunity to respond and say, yeah, sign me up for that, or not. And again, you can sign up, you can watch them, you can do however you feel comfortable. But the point is, when we get to the end of the process, we don't want people to say, wow, that sucked. That's not my plan. Now, of course, there's compromises, right? I mean, you can't, it's a delicate process, but try to keep that in mind. Okay, so, the beginning of the process. I want to step back for a second and just lay out for you one of the challenges that we face, or we all face at PSI. And this, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this is kind of the brand, this is the brand architecture for brand PSI. So for donors and stakeholders and resource decision makers who are deciding on what partner or implementer to choose versus other competitive choices, and we do work in a competitive industry, why do they choose PSI? And this was done a couple of years ago with some consumer insight. I'm sorry, the chart is cut off a bit. But basically the way and of course we have customers that we serve, our real customers, and we'll talk more about her and those throughout this presentation. But there's also a reality that we compete in an industry where people direct resources towards us and pay us. So these are kind of the four pillars of what we think makes PSI distinctive and has a competitive advantage, why we've grown from so small to a really large organization over the last, well, decade and more. And those, has anybody ever seen this before? Okay, well don't worry, there's not going to be a test. And you're welcome to comment to me on this as well, either here or later. And I'm going to go through the whole presentation if you don't mind, and then we'll just open it up. That's probably the most useful part, is when you guys get to ask or clarify things that I've confused you about. But the four pillars that make our brand what it is and make us what we think we are, at least, again, this is based on some consumer research, the consumers being those people who invest and direct resources in our industry, is, first one is measurability and scale. Hopefully that's self-explanatory, speed and efficiency. Lasting solutions, that's about, in fact, we've always felt that these are the two areas that we were weakest at. That's why this kind of cracked brand PSI, and this chart is from about 3 years ago, where we felt that the last two pillars, lasting solutions, are our solutions perceived as having long-term benefits in the countries we serve, not just to PSI and short-term health impact, but what do we leave behind? And that was perceived as a shortfall for PSI. Sometimes it's called sustainability. We try to stay away from jargony terms. But do our solutions last? And are we an active partner? Years ago when we were small, we just wanted people to give us resources, go away, and then we come back to them with the answer, and they should be happy because we did so great. Now, some of us have lived through that. And yeah, that's our default, perhaps, but we're too big for that now. And the implications of our work, have repercussions throughout the health systems landscape. So we can't be, those little cowboys who go out and do things and come back. And the people who want to invest in us want a partner. They want someone they can engage with. They want someone that they can interact with, not just give the money and go. And those are the two areas that we felt really over the last strategic plan that we really focused on changing at PSI. And we'll talk about that in a minute, how that has changed. But the challenge here, if you look at that, and if it makes any sense, is ask yourself what part of public health or development would not benefit from those four things? Or what disease health area would not benefit from these four pillars? Can you think of any? Well, it's kind of a trick question. The answer is no. I mean, everything that's done in public health would benefit from those things done well. Now, we know we have our challenges, and we're not perfect, and we have challenges in each of those pillars. But that's been one of the challenges of PSI, and long ago, we only did basically condoms, very long time ago. But now we're doing everything from TB to male circumcision to ARVs to Viper boots to we got people wanting us to do things outside of health. And why is that? Because these are very attractive benefits to offer these resource and stakeholders. So it's dragged us in all kinds of different directions, which is wonderful, but the challenge is where are the, what don't you do? Because it's what differentiates PSI is not really what we do. It's not, in terms of a health area, we're not the malaria people, or the HIV people, or the TB people, or the clean water people. What differentiates us, I believe, is how we do things. This brand architecture is really about how we approach solutions for our audience. And that's beautiful and strong and compelling, and it's given us a lot of success. But it also brings challenges. As if it's how you do things, then what don't you do, and where do you begin and end? And that's one of the things that's really driven us to become so diversified in our interventions, and that's a great thing. But one of the challenges strategically going forward is where do you draw those lines? And I just wanted to share that with you. I really don't have there's no answer here, I'm afraid, or definitive answer, but that's one of the challenges we struggle with at PSI. Now, we're actually still in a strategic plan window, the last one, from 2007 to 2011. These were the 5 strategic initiatives. Actually, they were adapted during an interim process, and if you were here 2 years ago, you might remember that. But the point of showing this is, 1, we're not out of it. 2, what did we learn? Because we're trying to get better as a learning organization. So what have we learned in this plan? And actually, it's the first one we ever did. Was the one we did 5 years ago, which is kind of amazing. So